Oh, it is week 10. RotoBros Live. Week 10 starts Sit Sunday. Starts now. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I know you guys are dying to get a W. Go into week 11 with a win, coming down in the playoff stretch. Hopefully Thursday worked out for a lot of you. I know Thursday was one of those wacky Thursday night games, right? The Ravens should have just beaten the brakes off the Dolphins, but of course that didn't happen. Lamar Jackson was not Lamar Jackson. So it's just one of those things. But it's the good thing, you got to look at the silver lining. The silver lining here is that next week, Lamar Jackson should be right back to Lamar Jackson, normal Lamar Jackson, right? So that's kind of how it goes. By the way, Robert Woods, if you're living under a rock, Robert Woods out for the season, tore his ACL in practice yesterday, or Friday. So he is going to be out for the season. But what does that mean? New acquisition Odell Beckham Jr. is elevated in the target totem pole, if you will. So he is unquestionably, and I said he would be as soon as he was required. He was going to be the de facto wide receiver 2 for this team in regards to for fantasy purposes. And look, Cooper Kupp, nothing changes with him. Everybody's wondering, well, how does this affect Cooper Kupp? It doesn't. Cooper Kupp is still top flight wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Odell Beckham does have some value. He could wind up being a wide receiver 2 in fantasy. But as far as like Van Jefferson, I don't know if it really changes much for Van Jefferson. Maybe this week as OBJ gets like incorporated into the offense a little bit more. I like Van Jefferson more this week than I'm going to next week and beyond. Once OBJ gets some more of a rapport with Matthew Stafford. But until that happens, I think Van Jefferson is a pretty decent play this week. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. First question of the day, Josh Norton. Alex Collins over Ty Johnson in PPR? Absolutely not. Ty Johnson has pretty much been pretty solid for the Jets in PPR the last 3 weeks. I mean, this is a guy that is, Michael Carter is becoming that exactly what they drafted him to be, that do it all around workhorse, right? And so he's got a ton of value. But Ty Johnson, even though he's not like the primary pass catcher, he's been heavily involved in the pass in the passing game. And today, we would assume, we assumed on Thursday that the Ravens were going to handle the Dolphins. But today, going against the Bills, we would assume that the Bills, coming off previous performance, they're going to want to show out a little bit against the hapless Jets. So I would imagine that the Jets are going to be playing from behind, right? And so I think that's a pretty good assumption that they will be doing that on the road. I think Ty Johnson is probably the better play. You can't trust Alex Collins. You just can't do it. And I understand. He's a little bit of a better play now until Chris Carson comes back because Russell Wilson is back under center. So the offense is going to get better. They'll probably have more scoring opportunities than they would with Geno Smith. But I'm still going to go with Ty Johnson. I'm going to go with game script. I'm going to go with circumstance. Give me Ty Johnson over Alex Collins. I can't hate you if you go the other way, but I think I'm going to go Ty Johnson with this one here, Josh. James Robinson or Elijah Mitchell? I haven't gotten anything. Nothing's come across yet that says James Robinson is playing. If James Robinson plays, I'm gonna play James Robinson over Elijah Mitchell. I know Elijah Mitchell has been the guy. He's been getting the workload. That's great. But again, he doesn't have a great matchup this week, so I think we need to think about that as well. So I think James Robinson's been he's been a machine when he's been on the field this year as well, just like he was last year. He's almost hasn't really even skipped a beat. But it didn't look like, at least a day or two ago, that James Robinson was going to be playing this week. So I don't know if we need to be like, obviously continue to watch it. I'm sure we'll find out maybe even while the show's going on, while we're on air here. But I think for right now, you should probably plan on starting Elijah Mitchell. But if James Robinson does end up playing, James Robinson, I think, is going to be your option there. Flex PPR start, AP or Dallas Goedert. Love you. I don't know. It just says Facebook user, so I don't know who's telling me they love me, but I love you too. I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson here, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't think Goddard's a bad start, but the majority of the time, I'm going to take the running back over the tight end. Okay, because for the most part, outside of like Waller and Pitts and like Hawkinson and Kelsey, of course, Kittle, running backs are going to pretty much touch the ball. Starting running backs are going to touch the ball more. They're going to have more scoring opportunities than tight end. So I'm going to take Adrian Peterson here, but the Titans are also getting 2 offensive linemen back, including Taylor Lewan. So I think that's going to help them in the running game as well. I don't know. I don't think this offense, is going to be fine. I think AP is not Derrick Henry, obviously, but he's still not a bad option, and he's still going to have scoring opportunities. And look, he's still good for goal line touches, right? And he's still money on the goal line. So I think that's kind of what you're hoping for this week. And I think Adrian Peterson is going to be the start over Dallas Goedert. Even though you can't really rely on him for pass catches, I think he's going to be a better start this week. Good morning, Chris. Non-PPR flex need one. Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Mitchell, James Robinson, Mark Ingram. I'll put them in order for you. James Robinson, if he plays, set it and forget it. Elijah Mitchell, number 2. Mark Ingram, number 3. And then Jerry Jeudy, number 4. I don't think any of these guys are really bad plays this week because I think they're obviously with Alvin Kamara not playing this week. Mark Ingram should get a good amount of touches out of the backfield. Same thing with James Robinson, same thing with Elijah Mitchell, and then, of course, Jerry Jeudy, his style of play at the receiver position, he is a volume-based guy anyway, so he's typically got a pretty safe floor when it comes to playing receiver and in fantasy. So I think all 4 of those guys are fine, but if James Robinson plays, he's going to be the one you're going to go with. What's up, broski? Jason Quinn, PPR, flex spot, Amari Cooper, Michael Carter. Look, I'm going to take Amari Cooper here, and I get it. This is a game today. Rise up, baby. Rise up. Matt Ryan agrees. Look, the Falcons, if the season ends today, the Falcons are going to make the playoffs. Is that not incredible for a team? And I think this really, look, the Falcons have not looked great. AJ Terrell has been phenomenal this year. Cordell Patterson's been great. Matt Ryan hasn't been terrible, but he could use, he can only be as good as his offensive line allows him to be. Look, I think this has the makings of a fantasy fest. Like this is the makings of a game that has a lot of players that could be scoring a lot of fantasy points today, and I think that will ultimately be the case. I don't know what the over-under is, but I would almost kind of want to bet the over on that. But I'll take the talent here. I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. I'm not messing really too much with Michael Carter, against the Bills this week. I'm going to go, and I'm going to play it safe here. And I'm going to go with, not saying that Michael Carter won't score any points, but I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. And I don't know who A.J. Terrell is going to be shadowing, if it's going to be Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb. But I think for the most part, Amari Cooper is going to be the better play. I know he's sort of battling a little bit of an injury, but I think he's going to be fine, and it is a tasty matchup. I mean, look, outside of A.J. Terrell, our secondary has not been good this year. So I really like the fantasy day for the Cowboys, especially after last week's debacle against Denver. They're going to want to right the ship here. P.J. Walker or Trevor Siemian. I'll go with Trevor Siemian. I'm not trusting P.J. Walker. If it was Cam Newton, if Cam's not starting this week, he probably will next week. But if it was Cam Newton, I'd probably go with Cam. But I'll take Trevor Siemian here over PJ Walker. But I would just be expecting to kind of take that L at the quarterback position this week. I would not. You need to keep expectations severely in check. Let's see. Taylor Heineke, Teddy Bridgewater, or Trevor Lawrence. I'll go Trevor Lawrence over Teddy and Taylor Heineke. Teddy Bridgewater would be my second choice, but I think I'll take the talent with Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence starting to kind of get it together a little bit, looking a little bit better, it seems, every single week. Hell, even Urban Meyer seems to be, kind of getting the hang of this coaching in the NFL thing. I never thought he was a bad coach. It's just going to take some adjustment. And not only that, it's not like he's taking over a good team. He's taking over a bad team with a rookie quarterback, right? And he just lost his starting running back. He's been without him for a couple weeks. Like, the guy who we thought was going to be their alpha receiver in DJ Chark has been, is now out for the year. Like, they just got Dan Arnold, who's still getting used to the offense. Like, this is a team that's just not very good. So I don't know why everybody was expecting that Urban Meyer was just going to come in and just start, like, handing out W's everywhere. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. You got to give them time. It looks like they're at least getting better. You can see the competitiveness out of Jacksonville right now. But yeah, long-winded answer. I'll take Trevor Lawrence there. Renfro, OBJ, or Emmanuel Sanders in standard. These are all good options, but I'm not going to play Hunter Renfro over OBJ in standard, and I'm not going to play Emmanuel Sanders over OBJ in standard. Not when OBJ is in this offense. Look, you might want to say, your gut may tell you, I'm going to bench OBJ for 1 week while he gets acclimated to the offense. You don't know how active he's going to be. I get it. But I think with Robert Woods out, I think you'd have probably more of an argument if Robert Woods was playing. With Robert Woods out, I mean, he's going to get plenty of snaps. There's not going to be a snap count for OBJ. I would not imagine. So I'm going to go with OBJ here. If it was PPR, I think maybe Hunter Renfro would probably be the safer play, just because he's got a tasty matchup against the Chiefs. But I'll go OBJ here since it's standard. PPR tight end, Noah Fant or Dalton Schultz. I'm going to go Dalton Schultz. I'll go Dalton Schultz this week. I don't blame you if you go Noah Fant. Noah's been fantastic, but remember, Jerry Jeudy missed a lot of time as well, so that allowed him to get incorporated into the target share a little bit more. So we may see that go down for Noah Fant a little bit, which I hope not, because I have him in a dynasty league. But I think that Dalton Schultz is probably going to be your best option this week, so that's where I would lean. Michael Carter or Mark Ingram in PPR. I will take Mark Ingram, actually. Mark Ingram, I think, has got the better matchup. He's going to get more touches. I think Mark Ingram is not going to have any short of touches this week. So I think Mark Ingram is a solid RB2 in fantasy this week. So I'm having to deploy him due to injuries and in bye weeks in quite a few leagues that I have him in. PPR flex, need one. Dawson Knox, Michael Gallup, Zach Pascal, or Brian Edwards. Well, Zach Pascal's not going to be the answer. He's never going to be the answer, and he's barely even ownable. Like that, you could probably drop. Well, you can now that T.Y. Hilton's back. You can drop Zach Pascal. You can find a better option. I'd be interested to see what's in your free agent pool there. But between all those players, it's hard not to say Dawson Knox here against the Jets. I'm going to go Michael Gallup. I'm going to say Michael Gallup. I'm having to deploy Michael Gallup in a league as well. I'm going to go Michael Gallup. I think they're going to want to get him back into the offense. Amari Cooper battling that injury. AJ Terrell, they're probably going to want to try to stay away from him and take advantage of the poor secondary that Atlanta has outside of him. So I think Michael Gallup is a solid play today. You're not going to go Brian Edwards or Zach Pascal at all. It's between Dawson and Michael. So look, if you go with Dawson Knox, I cannot blame you. But I'm going to take Michael Gallup here. I think he's probably the better play in a game that should be a pretty high-scoring game. Tyler Homrick says, Brandon Bolden, J.D. McKissic, or Jacoby Myers in my flex and PPR. It's going to be J.D. McKissic, man. I think, obviously, Damian Harris is out. RMS, or as I like to call him, Ramondre Stevenson, who have I been saying all summer is going to be involved in this offense a lot more as the year goes along. Ramondre Stevenson. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Alvin Kamara. I'm not saying he's going to be all I'm saying is that he's going to be a guy that you want on your team because he's going to be getting a lot more touches. He's going to be incorporated more. Okay? He led the team and I think it was even targets and yards from scrimmage last week. And now he's going to have the backfield, not to himself, but he's going to have a lot more touches this week as the starter. So Ramondre Stevenson, for me, I think is a good play. I think he's a great play. If he doesn't play, barring some, game time, then, maybe, then I think Bolden is a better choice. But look, J.D. McKissic, he's been money. It's not going to be Jacoby Myers. J.D. McKissic has had this floor all year, this safe receiving floor. He's the primary pass catcher. We all drafted Antonio Gibson, including myself, hoping that Antonio Gibson would be that guy because Gibson had that Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Austin Eckler, ceiling, that ceiling that you could just break through and be a league winner. He has that. That was in his range of outcomes if he became and usurped J.D. McKissic as the primary pass catcher. But look, J.D. McKissic last year, for some of you guys that don't know, J.D. McKissic led all running backs last year in the league in targets. No running back was targeted more than J.D. McKissic. And he was number 2 to Alvin Kamara in catches. Just saying. So, coming into this year, we all had to be, a little cautious on Antonio Gibson. But obviously it hasn't worked out as far as, league-winning ceiling or anything like that. I'm going to go J.D. McKissic. I think he's got the safer floor. I think he's a better bet for your fantasy points there. Anthony Golding, Mike Evans, or Chris Godwin. I will go Mike Evans, but it's a coin flip. Both of these guys are probably going to score a touchdown. They're both probably going to be, top 15 fantasy receivers this week. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a total coin flip, man. I would go with Mike Evans, though. I'll take the better player, the alpha, the number 1. I'll go with Mike Evans. Jason Quinn, Gibson or McKissic in PPR. Again, McKissic has that safer floor in PPR. He's the primary pass catcher. And Gibson gets the majority of the carries. But this is a bad matchup for guys who are getting carries. This is not a rush defense that I want to play if I have Antonio Gibson. So give me J.D. McKissic. And also, if this ends up being a game that gets out of hand, what are they going to do? They're going to be throwing the ball more. What does that mean? J.D. McKissic's going to be playing probably more snaps this week because he's going to be involved in the passing game more. So give me J.D. McKissic for a safer floor there and probably even a higher ceiling in regards to this week. PPR, Cortland Sutton or Van Jefferson. I'll go Cortland Sutton. I know he's been up and down. If OBJ wasn't playing, I'd go Van Jefferson. But look, Cortland Sutton's got a higher ceiling. He's probably going to play more snaps. He's probably going to get more targets. He'll have a blow-up week and then followed up by 2 or 3 bad weeks. I get it. It's kind of hard to. He doesn't have that consistency that a Jerry Jeudy has. But I'll go Cortland Sutton here and just kind of hope for something big. Ingram over Robinson in PPR. If Robinson plays, no, I'll take James Robinson. But I think you're going to end up. It doesn't sound to me, unless something's come across the wire here, unless nothing's come across yet. Unless James Robinson is out, or unless James Robinson plays, I would go with Mark Ingram over James Robinson. Start 3 PPR: Darrell Henderson, Dearness Johnson, Nyheim Hines, Pat Freiermuth. I think the last 3 you said are probably gonna be who you're gonna go with here. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Clyde's playing this week. I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is play. Let me double check on that here. But the last I heard, he wasn't going to be playing, so it might be, Andy Reid said it's probably a stretch for him to return for Week 10. So he's probably not going to play, it doesn't sound like, unless he's already been ruled out. So I would actually go with Darrell Williams, Dearness Johnson, and then I'd probably go with Pat Freiermuth over Nyheim Hines. I'll take Pat Freiermuth. He's an animal, baby Gronk. And he has obviously gained the trust of Ben Roethlisberger. Now, Ben's not playing this week, but Mason Rudolph is, and I'm not really concerned because it's a great matchup at home against the Lions. I think Mason Rudolph's going to be fine. I'm having to start him in a few leagues because Roethlisberger's out. But I'll go Darrell Williams, Dearness Johnson, who I love, by the way, before I get any Dearness Johnson questions. He's going to get, even Demetric Felton is out this week. Dearness Johnson may lead the NFL in touches today at the running back position. So Darrell, Dearness, and then Pat Freiermuth are going to be your options there. Thomas Walters, Beasley, Marvin Jones Jr., or take a shot with OBJ. Yeah, you're going to go with OBJ. You're going to go OBJ for sure. Jonathan, with Hopkins likely out, pick one to replace him in case he is. Ayuk, Jordan Howard, Alex Collins. Not going to be Ayuk. But I think I will go with I'll go Alex Collins here. I'll go Alex Collins for one reason. Well, 2 reasons. Number 1, Russ is back. He's going to get a little more scoring opportunities. Number 2, he's not in this 3-4-man rotation that Philly has going on. And it's a better rushing team. And obviously Russ being there is better for the running back. So I'm going to go Alex Collins. Give me Alex Collins. I wouldn't expect a whole lot, but I'll take Alex Collins over those guys. Stuart Greggs, Hawk or Freiermuth in standard. I'll take TJ Hawkinson. I know he hasn't been as good as we thought he would in fantasy this year, but he's still going to get a lot of targets, especially against Pittsburgh, I think. So go ahead and give me TJ Hawkinson there. Tyler Lewis, very disgusting, and it's not ideal at all, but injuries and bye weeks lead me to this. Boston Scott or Eno Benjamin. Eno Benjamin is going to be your choice. Eno Benjamin, it is Eno Benjamin season, and I hate the SZN, whatever it's called. I hate it. I cannot stand it, but I'm going to use it when it's Eno Benjamin. I love Eno Benjamin. Eno's my guy. I've been telling you guys for a couple years now. He just needs a shot. Okay, he's been third string now for 2 years. Chase Edmonds could probably be out for the rest of the fantasy season. So look, Eno's a good own. I picked him up in nearly all my leagues this week. I think Eno's, look, James Conner is like an RB1 play in fantasy this week, but I think Eno is going to get a lot of touches, and we saw last week, this man has some talent. This man runs angry. This man is good. Eno Benjamin is good. And if you are not familiar with Eno Benjamin, go back, listen to my scouting brief on him last year at for the RotoBros Fantasy Football Podcast. Check that out. And or go on YouTube and just watch some Eno Benjamin tape. Eno can play. Eno can play, man. So I'm excited to see him today. Hopefully he gets a lot of snaps. Peoples-Jones or Russell Gage. Give me DPJ. I'll trust him a little bit more. I can't really, I can't really blame you if you went Russell Gage because of, situation with no Calvin Ridley. But I'll go DPJ for the ceiling play. Lisa McCullough says, full point PPR, need 2, AP, Moss, Javonte Williams, Alex Collins, Ramondre Stevenson. If Ramondre Stevenson starts, I will go with Ramondre Stevenson, but you said you need 2, and one of these guys you're just not going to bench, and that's Javonte Williams. My boy Javonte. He's starting to break loose. He's starting to become that dude. Get excited. It is almost Javonte Williams season. Javonte Williams for me, for sure, is one, and I think it's close between Ramondre and Alex and AP and Zach as well. But if pushed, I'll go Ramondre Stevenson. But I think my second guy would probably be Adrian Peterson there. Or no, you know what? My second guy would probably be Zach Moss over Ramondre Stevenson. And I actually would not blame you if you went Zach Moss over Ramondre Stevenson, to be quite honest with you. Because of matchup, they're wanting to get this running game, back into place. So I think Zach Moss could have a good game this week. Jeff Atlas, Stevenson or Bolden. If Ramondre plays, Ramondre I think is going to be the guy. I think Bolden may be the primary pass catcher, but hell, we saw what Ramondre Stevenson did with his pass catching workload last week as well, so he was fine. I like Ramondre Stevenson this week, though. Also, thoughts on OBJ Monday night. I think OBJ can have a pretty decent game. If you're loaded at wide receiver, you don't want to bench a guy like a Michael Pittman, or a Chris Godwin. And speaking of those two, that's the next question I have. But I don't think he's a bad play if you need a wide receiver stand-in for 1 week. And he could definitely end up being a starter for you in fantasy the rest of the year. Tight end standard, Hawkinson or Freiermuth. I will go with Hawkinson, but at this point, I can't blame you if it's Freiermuth. I think Pat Freiermuth could be a tight end 1 in fantasy rest of the year. Need one wide receiver PPR, Godwin, Pittman. You're going to go Godwin, I think. But, man, I don't know how. You must be loaded at receiver if you can't start both of these guys. I would do whatever you can to get both of these guys in the lineup. But if you got to stack team, you got to stack team. So if it comes down to it, I'll take Tom Brady and the Bucks and Chris Godwin over Michael Pittman. Michael Carter or Mark Ingram, I will take Mark Ingram. Melvin Gordon or Mark Ingram, I will take Mark Ingram. Choose 2 PPR, Antonio Brown. AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Deontay Johnson. So there's 2 guys here that you're never benching, and those are your 2. So this should really, to me, this should honestly never really even be a question. You're never going to bench A.J. Brown, and you're never going to bench CeeDee Lamb. You're just not. And I like Deontay Johnson. He's a quality player, but he's not a wide receiver 1 in fantasy like these 2 guys are. So you're just never. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. You're always going to start A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb. I'll just keep that easy for you there. Jake Newell, flex 1. Jeremy McNichols, definitely not. Jerry Jeudy, no. BMW, no. Drake, yes. You're starting Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake has been money since John Gruden's been gone. They have shown, the desire to include him more in the offense, which is complete, like, who would have thunk? Let's get an extremely talented, efficient running back. I mean, Kenyon Drake is a better running back than half the starters in the league. He's just never gotten his chance to be the guy. He's never been given the full workload. But we've seen what he can do with just a half workload. So primary pass catcher, great situation, great game going up against Kansas City, great matchup. Yeah, go ahead and give me Kenyon Drake there. Thomas Walters, Beasley, Jones Jr. Okay, I think I answered that one earlier. It's going to be OBJ there. Start Pollard, AP, Drake, or Gainwell in a 1-point PPR league. Well, in 1-point PPR, you're not going to go Adrian Peterson. Pollard, it doesn't really have a ton of value unless Zeke is hurt. Gainwell, it's like a 4-man RBBC here, and you can't really trust any of them. Give me Kenyon Drake. It's easy. It's easy Kenyon Drake there. Javonte Williams or Elijah Mitchell in PPR. I'm going to go with Javonte Williams here this week, only because of Elijah Mitchell's matchup. Typically, it would be Elijah Mitchell because he's going to get the majority of the workload. But Javonte's getting more and more involved in this offense, and I think, I think Javonte should have another pretty good game. So I think they're going to trust him more, give him more touches, again, as the season goes along. This is what I told you over the summer. Get Javonte Williams late in your drafts. Be patient for the first, 9-10 weeks. He's going to be involved. But by fantasy playoff time, you're going to have yourself a gem here. And next year, if you're in a dynasty league next year, I mean, we could be talking RB1 in fantasy. But yeah, today it's going to be Javonte Williams over Elijah Mitchell. PPR, Van Jefferson, Cortland Sutton. I will go with Cortland Sutton. Kyle Patterson, Dearness Johnson, or Josh Jacobs. That's probably the best question of the day so far. That's definitely the best question of the day. I like both of these guys. I wish you could find a way to get both of them into your lineups. Dearness Johnson's going to get a lot of work, but he doesn't have an excellent matchup going against New England. Give me Josh Jacobs, starting running back, going to get a lot of the work, in a good situation against Kansas City. Give me Josh Jacobs there over Dearness Johnson. But let me tell you something. It's close, and I think it's closer than a lot of people might think. But I wouldn't make it a coin flip. I don't think it's that close. Give me Josh Jacobs over Dearness Johnson. Pat Freiermuth or Tyler Higbee. Well, Tyler Higbee takes a huge dip with OBJ in the mix now because he should command ultimately more targets than Robert Woods ever did anyway. He's just better. So, I think that's a bad thing for Tyler Higbee. Give me Pat Freiermuth. And to be honest with you, if this is a redraft league and with shallow benches, you don't even need to own 2 tight ends. You can cut Tyler Higbee and just ride Pat the rest of the year in your tight end position. Suzuki Vang, tight end, Dallas Goedert, Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's been money. Him and Mac Jones have a rapport. He's like pretty much the number 1 target right now for Mac Jones. So go ahead and give me Hunter Henry there. Jonathan, I think my screen froze when you answered my question. Terrible timing, Jonathan. With Hopkins likely out, if Hopkins is out, who do you roll with? Collins, Howard, or Ayuk? I'm going to go with Collins. Jordan Howard, I don't know if you can really rely on him because he's in this 3-4-way running back by committee. Brandon Ayuk, you're not gonna trust. And then Alex Collins gets Russ back, not really in much of a committee for the most part. More scoring opportunities probably. So I'll roll the dice on Alex Collins. Daniel Sizemore, PPR, Zach Moss, Brandon Bolden. Give me Zach Moss. Good matchup. He's back healthy. The Bills want to get this running game rejuvenated here because they've been having some issues without it. Give me Zach Moss here. Thomas Ball, I have Kyler Murray and Hopkins in my money league. This week I'm going with Mike White and Elijah Moore versus the Bills. Good luck with that. I think this Mike White is a good story. Okay, right now, Mike White is not the answer. He is not the savior for the Jets. Now, I know we're talking fantasy. I'm just talking reality for a minute. Zach Wilson's the guy. He's the number 2 overall pick, much higher ceiling, much more talented. He's going to be fine. Zach Wilson, he's going to be fine. He's playing like a rookie on a horrible football team. It just is what it is. Mike White, I think it could be a quality backup. But he's not the answer. I would not, regardless of what Elijah Moore did last week, that's going to be an aberration. Like, he may not catch another touchdown the rest of the year, to be quite honest with you. I would not expect anything out of that combo today. I just wouldn't. But best of luck. I just wouldn't. Thomas, if I were you. Kyle Mulkey, Renfro, Ayuk, Carter, Judy, PPR, pick one. I will go with Hunter Renfro. He's got a damn good matchup. He is the de facto wide receiver 2 right now for Las Vegas. Look, I think it's a great matchup. Michael Carter is close because of workload, and so is Jerry Jeudy. He's close. I think the three of them are farther away than Ayuk is. So definitely not Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to go Hunter Renfro. I think there's a safe floor there. Give me Hunter Renfro there. Daniel Sizemore, pick 2. Deontay Harris, T.Y. Hilton, Michael Gallup. I will go with Michael Gallup, and I will go with T.Y. Hilton. There you go. I wouldn't expect much out of Harris or Hilton. Harris is more, he's one of those big-time, like, ceiling plays. You know, you're just hoping. He's not going to really do anything for you other than, like, a huge touchdown. So you start Deontay Harris when you are hoping for, like, a Hail Mary, literally. Like, a 72-yard touchdown. That's what you're hoping for. And the odds are very low that happens. So give me the probably more targets with T.Y. Hilton and Michael Gallup. Give me the talent with those two as well. Seals-Jones or Tyler Conklin. I'll go with Ricky Seals-Jones, but I'm not too terribly excited about it. Melvin Gordon or Mark Ingram. Give me Mark Ingram, Ramondre Stevenson, or Dalton Schultz. Definitely Ramondre Stevenson. Luke Arnaud, Zach Ertz, or Dallas Goedert. I'm going to go Dallas Goedert. I can't blame you if you go Ertz with Hopkins out, but Rondale Moore's in, so he should take on some of that load. If Rondale Moore was out, I would say Zach Ertz. But Rondale Moore is playing, so give me Dallas Goedert. Give me Dallas Goedert over Zach Ertz. Ramondre Stevenson or A.J. Dillon, says Noah Alford. I'll go with Ramondre Stevenson. Probably going to get more touches, going to see more work. I'll go with Ramondre Stevenson here. One tight end, one flex PPR. Dawson Knox, Dallas Goedert, or OBJ with the bye week and the waiver wire is effed. Dawson Knox, Dallas Goedert, OBJ. I will roll the dice with OBJ. And very closely following that is Dawson Knox, but I'm going to go with OBJ here. Thomas Walters, Beasley Jones. Okay, that one's come up 3 different times. I'll go with OBJ over Marvin Jones and Cole Beasley. Let's see. I think I lost my... Okay, yeah, I lost my spot here. Let me pull that back up here. Sorry, guys. PPR, Dillon, A.J. Dillon, or Jordan Howard. I will go with Jordan Howard. Antonio Gibson, Jordan Howard, or Van Jefferson. Need 2. I'll go with Gibson. Not really excited about it, but just stay optimistic is the best way I can do it. Best way I can tell you. I'll go Antonio Gibson, Jordan Howard over Van Jefferson. Don Butler, thoughts on Jordan Howard's stat line. What does he end up today with Chris? I don't like to predict stat lines. It's too difficult, especially in a very volatile committee like the Eagles running back. I don't really want to get into all that. I think he could have a decent day, but maybe a touchdown. I'll predict that, 1 touchdown. Outside of that, I don't really want to get into like trying to predict stat lines. That's just, there's way too much variance involved there. Trey, I've lost Hopkins and Ridley. I apologize. Should I start Marquez Callaway or Donovan Peoples-Jones? I'll go Donovan Peoples-Jones. More talented, better quarterback, and he's in a great situation now as the de facto wide receiver 2. And by the way, I believe DPJ actually leads all receivers in the NFL in yards per catch. Just saying. So I think both are like ceiling plays, but I'll take Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think because you can trust the quarterback a little bit more. I know I'm talking about Baker Mayfield. You can trust the quarterback a little bit more. I'll go with DPJ there. Brian Andreas, trusting Russell Wilson today. Absolutely. I'm trusting Russell Wilson on one leg. Give me Russell Wilson. Josh Dello, Alex Collins, or Cortland Sutton. I will go with Alex Collins based solely on touches and workload, and the fact that Russ is back and he should get some scoring opportunities. Half-point PPR, pick 2, Cooper, Pittman, Ingram. That's a good question. I'm going to go Ingram, Mark Ingram, and I'm going to go Michael Pittman. Mark Ingram and Michael Pittman over Amari Cooper this week. Standard scoring, Devontae Smith or Jarvis Landry. That I just don't know. I'll go Devontae Smith. I'll take the ceiling play with Devontae Smith. I don't really like either of these guys this week, but I'll take the ceiling play. I'll go Devontae Smith. Pittman with T.Y. Hilton back or Adam Thielen. Listen, this game right here, let me get a drink of water because we need to talk about this game. So, Chargers-Vikings. We talked about Cowboys-Falcons as a fantasy. Chargers-Vikings. This is going to be a fantasy fest. This right here, I don't know what the over-under is. I would be curious to know what the over-under is. Somebody give me those numbers if you can, because I might take the over on that one. This is going to be, I'm not benching Adam Thielen. I love Michael Pittman, and Michael Pittman's been that dude. You guys know he's my guy. I've been talking about him for a long, long time. But Adam Thielen today, I'm going Adam Thielen. I think this is going to be a game where these two teams are going to score in the 30s. This game, I like Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Donald Parham, Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook. I like everybody in this game. Everybody gets a touchdown. I'm like Oprah. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Everybody gets a touchdown today in that game. Everybody's going to score fantasy points. Everybody. Give me Adam Thielen. I'll take Adam Thielen over Pittman, but it's close. But I will take Adam Thielen. Matthew Bright, Mason Rudolph, or Drake. This has got to be a super flex. It's got to be a super flex. I'll go Mason Rudolph because he's a quarterback and because he plays at home and he has a good matchup against Detroit. Dallas Goedert, Ertz, or Noah Fant. Give me Dallas Goedert. It's actually going to be that order. Goddard, Ertz, Fant. Give me Dallas Goedert. Nick says George Kittle or TJ Hawkinson. I'll go. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a good question. It's like a coin flip almost. I'm gonna go TJ Hawkinson. I don't think you can go wrong. I'll go TJ Hawkinson though. Derek Osborne Sr. says Michael Gallup or Dalton Schultz. I will go with Michael Gallup. Matthew Bright, Mason Rudolph, or Elijah Moore. Definitely not Elijah Moore. You're going to go Mason Rudolph there. Kyle Hamrick, Carson Wentz, or Jalen Hurts this week. I like both. I will go with Jalen Hurts because of the floor. I will go with Jalen Hurts because of the floor over Carson Wentz. But look, Carson's been playing great football. So if you guys want to play, Carson Wentz this week, I can't argue that. This is not a, before the season, if you were like, who should I draft, Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts? Well, Jalen Hurts for fantasy purposes because of the rushing floor and the fact they're going to throw a lot. But, right now, I can't really blame you if you decide to go Carson Wentz over Jalen Hurts. Give me Jalen Hurts. Lisa McCullough, need a flex. Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, Javonte Williams, or Ramondre Stevenson. All right, ready? Javonte Williams, Amari Cooper, Ramondre Stevenson, Mike Williams in that order. There you go. I like everybody in the Chargers-Vikings game except BMW. There we go. Ramondre Stevenson or Dalton Schultz in my flex, 1 point PPR. Give me Ramondre Stevenson. Derek Carr or Carson Wentz versus Jacksonville. Man, that's a good one. Ooh, that is tough. You cannot go wrong. I don't know what your gut's telling you. I don't know if you should flip a coin. I'm going to go with Derek Carr here, barely. We're talking, I think these are two top 10 fantasy quarterbacks this week. Barely Derek Carr. Rondale, well, I assume it's Rondale Moore. Moore or Gordon, or maybe it's Elijah Moore. Moore or Gordon, full point PPR. I'll go with Melvin Gordon. I don't care who it is, but I'll go with Melvin Gordon. Zeke or Dearness Johnson? That is a question you should never ask. You are never going to bench Dearness Johnson. You're never going to bench Ezekiel Elliott for Dearness Johnson. Yeah, you're not going to do it. I don't care what the matchup is. Ezekiel Elliott is Ezekiel Elliott for a reason. He's the RB10 in fantasy for a reason. You're not going to bench Zeke, especially against the Falcons. You're not going to bench Zeke for Dearness Johnson. Don't overthink this one. Bench Dearness Johnson. Brandon McLemore, who you got? Full point PPR. Moss, Judy, Darrell Williams. I'll go Zach Moss. Zachary Moss is going to be my option there. Jeff Atlas, if I want Eno, do I drop Tim Patrick, Dallas D? Yeah, drop Dallas D. You don't need to own two defenses. You don't need to own 2 defenses. And if you want to keep the Saints D, then drop the Saints defense. You need to drop a defense. And I know Galladay hasn't really done much this year, but you got to drop a defense. You don't need 2 of those. DJ Moore or Melvin Gordon. Give me Melvin Gordon. David Webb, did you say Ingram or Robinson in PPR? I will take Robinson if he plays. Again, I don't know if he's active. Somebody let me know. I haven't seen anything come across, but if Robinson is active, I'll start James over Mark Ingram. Pick up Stevenson. Should I play him in the flex over Elijah Moore and Henry? You should absolutely bench Elijah Moore for Ramondre Stevenson. 155,000%. Don't even hesitate. Ramondre Stevenson, RMS over Elijah Moore. Also have Carter on the bench with D'Ernest and Zeke starting on PPR. I think that's the good choice. I would bench Michael Carter this week for D'Ernest Johnson. Alex Collins or Drake, says Matthew Bright. Give me Kenyon Drake. Dalton Schultz or Hunter Henry. Give me Hunter Henry. Standard scoring, Landry and Devontae Smith. I think that one just came across earlier. Give me Devontae Smith. Let's see. Can I justify benching Rodgers versus Seattle for Wentz for the Jets? Absolutely not. I want you to say something out loud. Say it. If you say it, this is a little thing I say on the podcast all the time, and actually in real life. Say it out loud. If it sounds like a bad idea, it probably is. If it doesn't sound good when you say it out loud, it's probably not a good thing. I'm going to bench Aaron Rodgers for Carson Wentz. You don't even just say, I'm going to bench Aaron Rodgers. How weird does that sound, right? Like, that doesn't even sound like a good idea. You don't even need to include Carson. You don't even need to include half the sentence. I'm going to bench Aaron Rodgers. Don't do it. Don't overthink it. You're starting Aaron Rodgers over Carson Wentz 100% of the time. Stevenson or A.J. Dillon, Ramondre Stevenson. Choose 2 to start. Beasley, Sutton, or Renfro. I will take Renfro. I will take Sutton. Danny Barnacle, Renfro over Drake. I will say no. I think Drake is a better play than Renfro. I think both are really good plays, so you can't really go wrong. I'll go with the running back play there, though, in that case. PPR wide receiver, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Give me DPJ. Agnew, Bolden, or Hines in full-point PPR. I'm going to go Bolden here over Hines. I can't blame you if you choose Hines. You're not going to go Agnew. Give me Bolden over Hines here. Eris Blakeney says, pick 1, PPR. James Robinson, Darrell Williams, Jarvis Landry, Van Jefferson, Adrian Peterson. James Robinson if he plays, and Darrell Williams if he does not. James Robinson if he plays, Darrell Williams if he does not. Eris says, the other Eris. That's cool. 2 Erises back to back. What are the odds of that? Eris, AP or OBJ in 1-point PPR. I will go with OBJ since it's PPR. Standard, I'd probably go Adrian Peterson. Give me OBJ in PPR. Full-point PPR, pick 2, Alex Collins, Nyheim Hines, Devin Singletary, Jeremy McNichols. Go with the first 2. Go with Alex. Go with Nyheim Hines. That's where I'll go there. Gregory Combs, Wilson, or Stafford. You're not going to bench Stafford. Like, I love Russell Wilson and all, and hopefully, well, it's a 1-quarterback league. So first of all, you shouldn't have 2 of these high-profile quarterbacks. You don't need them. I would trade Russell Wilson to a quarterback-needy team, get another high-profile running back or wide receiver in return, maybe a high-end tight end if you can find one, if you need help there. You don't need 2 of those guys. Hold on to Stafford. Stafford over Wilson for me. Going against Zeke, and I have Austin Eckler. Who will score more? I have no clue. I will take Austin Eckler because it's PPR. And I think he has a higher ceiling. He's going to get a larger workload. Give me Austin Eckler. OBJ, Kirk, Landry, Patrick, pick 2. I'm going to go Tim Patrick and OBJ. Tim Patrick just does his thing. I told you guys last week, right? I was like, look, start Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick is always better when Jerry and Cortland are both on the field. What did he do? He just went off. So Tim Patrick for me. Tim Patrick and OBJ for me there. David Webb said the over-under for the Vikings-Chargers is 53.5. I'm no betting man. Like, I'm not an expert. I'm thinking I might want to take the over on that. Just saying. Mike Warren, Ramondre Stevenson, or Van Jefferson. Give me RMS there. Stevenson over Hunter Henry and Elijah Moore in the flex. Yes, go with RMS. Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins this week. Give me old Kirk Cousins. Give me Uncle Kirk at quarterback this week. Pittman, Devontae Smith from the Eagles. It's Pittman every single week, Matt. Pittman every single week over Devontae Smith. It's 1 point PPR. Ugly. Ty Johnson or Eno Benjamin. I'll go Eno Benjamin. Talent, matchup, situation. Give me Eno Benjamin for sure. Full point PPR. OBJ, Corey Davis, Brandon Ayuk, Collins, pick 2. I will go with OBJ and Alex Collins. James Robinson is active. It is official. James Robinson is active. Okay, start him across the board. There you go. Start 2, non-PPR. Henderson, Fournette, Connor. Ooh, I told you guys a couple weeks ago that right now Leonard Fournette is like a borderline RB1 every single week. And right now he is. He's getting the work. He's on a team that's going to give him a lot of scoring opportunities. However, you're not going to bench him for Darrell Henderson. Or you're not going to bench Darrell Henderson for him, and you're not going to bench James Conner with no Chase Edmonds. James Conner is a full-fledged top 10 fantasy running back right now. It's going to be James Conner and Darrell Henderson for me. Oscar says Deontay Harris, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, flex PPR. I will go with Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think he's got the best matchup. He is a better bet than Deontay Harris to score a lot more points and to have a higher ceiling. And Elijah Moore just doesn't have a good matchup. What he did last week with 2 touchdowns, that was wonderful. And I love Elijah Moore. He's amazing talent. Top 3 probably talent at receiver in this draft in my preseason rankings. And I love him. Not this week at all. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be your guy. Flex start PPR. Darrell Williams or Mark Ingram. Definitely going to be Mark Ingram there. Caleb Dalton, pick 2 to start. James Robinson, Mark Ingram, James Conner, and Darrell Henderson. Holy cow. Man, definitely not Mark Ingram. Hopefully you can get Caleb. Hopefully you can get all 3 of these guys. Like, seriously, reply to your comment and tag me in it so I'll get this off air. I want to know what your starting lineup looks like. I need to know what this team looks like, because how you can't get James, Darrell, and the other James in there. Oh man. But I mean, you're gonna go you got to pick 2. I mean, James Conner and Darrell Henderson, but we got to see if we can squeeze James Robinson in there somehow. Start 3, Deontay Johnson, Devontae Smith, Cortland Sutton, or Christian Kirk at wide receiver in standard. I will go with I'd like Deontay Johnson a lot more in PPR, but give me Deontay Johnson here as one of them. Give me Devontae Smith, and then give me Cortland Sutton. I just trust them more than Kirk, to be honest with you. Don Girardi says flex today. Hopkins, AJ Green, or Stevenson half-point PPR. I think DeAndre Hopkins is out, unless something's come across that I haven't seen yet. If he plays, you're obviously going to start DeAndre Hopkins, no question about it. If he does not, you are going to play RMS. You're going to play Ramondre Stevenson this week. Caleb Dalton, Najee Harris is my other running back. Dynasty League, sold out to win this year. I love it. I love it. You're going to bench James Robinson. You ain't benching Najee Harris. That's for damn sure. Najee Harris, James Conner, Darrell Henderson. There you go, man. Enjoy your W today, Caleb. Jeff Miner, PPR, Schultz or Dawson Knox. Give me Dawson Knox over forgetting his name here. Schultz. Give me Dawson Knox over Schultz. I'm so excited I can't even remember people's names anymore. Oh yeah, give me Dawson Knox for sure. I like both of them. I think they both obviously have really good matchups. But I think Michael Gallup coming back obviously puts a little bit of a damper on Dalton Schultz fantasy value. So it kind of moves him down, I think, in the totem pole of targets a little bit. Dawson Knox, to me, I think, is the money play there. So give me Dawson Knox over Dalton Schultz every week. And I think now with Michael Gallup back, you could probably drop Dalton Schultz and pick up like an extra backup running back or backup wide receiver. That's what I would do. And just kind of cut my losses with Dalton Schultz. Go ahead and give me Dawson Knox there by a pretty good margin. Guys, thank you so much. Looks like that's the last question of the day. Thank you guys so much. If I missed any questions, tag me in the comments. I'll try to get to them off air before kickoff. Thank you so much for listening. Best of luck this week. Enjoy the games. We will see you guys on Thursday. I am out.